So this is KUGAN CASSIUS for IFL TV, proudly sponsored by Everlast. We're at the Metro Gym. I'm joined by trainer Tony Sims. How are you, mate, first of all?
Yeah, I'm good, KUGAN. Thanks, mate.
Repping the Whale Hydrate, haven't you, today? You've got the hat, the hoodie on.
They rigged me out, didn't they? They're the only ones who rigged me out. No one else gives me anything.
2 weeks on Saturday. Conor's next kind of stage in his progression, shall we say? We can still say that. So, from his last 4 opponents, and he's kind of been now judged in his career off the back of from Famela, Granados, Algeria, etc. You believe that Van Heerden is a step above his previous 4?
I'm not saying he's a step above, but he's a world level fighter, and he's a southpaw, which Conor hasn't trained for a southpaw opponent, so it's just another step in his career. It's another bit of experience that he needs to train in a 12-week camp against southpaws, to adjust his style to a southpaw, and obviously box a world level southpaw who has boxed up at the highest level. So it's just another bit of experience in his career and on his path towards what he's aiming to achieve, and that's a world title shot.
I think some people obviously forget exactly how Conor Benn is. He's 26-year-old, and like I said, with not the same amateur pedigree as a lot of professionals now, I think people are kind of baying for him to jump in with this person, that person, but he's 26 and he's still learning his trade to a certain degree. Yeah,
absolutely, KUGAN. As I say, this is his first time fighting a southpaw and training for a southpaw, and he's got to make them adjustments. And as you said earlier, he didn't have a long amateur career. I don't think he boxed a southpaw as an amateur. So, to do a 12-week camp, adjusting everything, and sparring southpaw week after week, it's just another bit of experience, and another string to his bow that hopefully when he gets to the world title, and if it is a southpaw that he needs to fight, then he's already done the camp. He's already done one camp before, and fought a southpaw, and it'd be a great experience for him.
I was just talking to Conor about this now. Obviously the fight was meant to be announced, I think, the night of the Akoli fight, on that Sunday night on the Zone. There was kind of a week, 8-day gap before the fight was announced. Conor was just saying there was obviously the team was exercising the possibilities of that Kell Brook fight. From your perspective, that Kell Brook fight obviously didn't materialise. According to Conor, Eddie, the figures being chucked from Brook's side was like 10 million. Can you make comment on that situation?
Yeah, you're right, that there was a week when obviously after Kell beat Khan, there was that week of discussions between Eddie and Kell, and Eddie, we was like, we'd have been ready to go into that fight, maybe have postponed this fight to get ready for that fight, because they was talking about it in June, but Eddie rung me and said the figures that Kell wanted, Eddie wasn't ready to pay that, and so after a week of negotiations that broke down, and we just carried on with this camp. So I'm hoping that fight can still materialise, and that discussions can go on after this fight, but it's important now for obviously Conor Benn to win this fight and then move on afterwards.
Obviously all these talks were kind of into his camp, so was it a distraction, kind of your focus for Van Heerden on the 16th, but obviously the talks of what had been a bigger fight with Brook there, was it a distraction for Conor? He didn't seem to think so. He said that he was always focused on Chris Van Heerden regardless, and he kind of let the team do their work while he was concentrating on April 16th.
Yeah, I didn't discuss too much with Conor about what was going on behind the scenes. I obviously mentioned to him that Eddie was talking to Kell, but just let Conor get on with his training and focus on the fight, and I never said anything about ever postponing the Van Heerden fight to him. So that he just carried on with his training and his focus, and that's the good thing about Conor. He just lets us deal with the managerial and the promotional things behind the scenes, and he just gets on with his training and he does the fighting, and he leaves all that to us. But listen, like I said earlier, we're hoping that we can get start talking or discussing with Kel after this fight, and maybe reignite that fight in the future.
Obviously, you're focused on the 16th, and until that job's done, nothing else obviously matters. But for me to ask you after that, if everything goes well, is that the sort of level of fight we're looking at, kind of, which would be kind of the next phase in that progression we're talking about?
Yeah, most definitely. I know, Eddie wants to moving him into a big fight. Eddie said to me that he has had Amir Khan on the phone to him as well, talking about a potential fight with Conor. Listen, Conor's in a great position. He gets through this fight, and he's in a great position because whoever he fights, it's always going to be a big fight, and whatever opponent does fight him, if they bring their A side of our big Dale promotional, and he brings his side, it's always going to be a massive fight, So I think everybody in the country and probably in the world would like to fight Conor Benn because of the viewing figures he brings in. Eddie said to me before, aside from the heavyweights, Conor Benn's the biggest viewing figures on DAZN. So that's what you get when you fight Conor Benn. It's like Canelo says, payday, payday. They just want payday, and they fight. If you fight,
Don't blame them, do you?
No, if you're fighting Conor Benn in Britain, you're getting payday, and I don't blame anyone for calling Conor Benn out. Do you know what I mean? Like everyone calls Canelo out, in the world scene because they know they're going to get their big payday, and that's why John Ryder always calls Canelo out because he knows that's where the payday is. So the same thing with Conor Benn.
Any legs in this Eubank thing with Conor?
There is legs in it, but I believe that's a fight that can always be there. The Eubank Benn name, that fight will always be there. And I know Chris don't want to move from 160. And we ain't really ready to move more than 149 really. So I just can't, out of them all, that fight's probably the one that's most away from us at the minute. But you don't know down the line, it's another fight that could materialise with both their names. But as I say, that's always going to be there. At the end of their careers even, it'll always be there, that fight.
Well, like I said, as far as you're concerned, at the moment, it's all about business on April 16th, getting that job done, and then whatever happens after that happens. Yeah,
exactly, KUGAN. As I say, it's just, another good experience fight for Conor on his path to where he's leading to, and, Van Ed is a tough guy. He's been in with everybody, done 8 rounds with Earl Spence, so he's a good fighter,
Tony, appreciate your time as always. Thank you for having us down at your gym, and I suppose we'll next catch up with you fight week in Manchester.
Yeah, definitely, Coog. Thanks for coming down, mate.
Top man, thank you very much.
Welcome, Team Everlast, to the Team Everlast Fitness app. Download the Everlast Fitness app and find your greatness within.